In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a cherry blossom clutch out of sequins, Swarovski crystals, and glass beads. When you buy a tambour beading frame, it will come with two long bars with twill tape attached to the ends, two side bars, and usually the seller will include some twill tape which we attach to either side of the tambour fabric, and there are also pegs to twist and secure the corners of the boards together. We're going to place the fabric the longer side along the longer wooden strips. So what you do is we'll take the straight edge and we're going to line it up. So we have the fabric lined up to the center of this long wooden strip. And we're going to take some pins. Here I'm using these ball-headed pins. And I'm going to place it down vertically, and that will keep it in place from shifting. Now I'm going to do that all the way down the length of the fabric. And when you do it, make sure every time you pin that the fabric is lined up edge to edge with the twill tape. Here I have the finished fabric pinned to the wooden strip. And you can see all the pins are vertical. They're spaced out about 1 inch, 1.5 inch apart. And it's all lined up with the twill tape, edge to edge. We do it like this so that when we pull the fabric after we sew it on, the fabric, the way that it's weaved, it will be parallel to the force that's pulling on it to make it taut or give it tension. So this is why it's really important that we line it up. So now that we've pinned the bottom side, we're going to start to pin the top side. But one thing I want to point out to you before we start pinning is you want to make sure that these boards, the two longer strips, you want to make sure that they're completely lined up. So that also means the edges, and you can use the shorter strip to kind of push it into place. And you want to make sure that the holes are lined up with each other. So you don't want it shifted, like the fourth hole is looking like this. It needs to be completely perpendicular. Once you have that, you can start to match up the edge of the fabric to the edge of the twill tape and start to pin again. And make sure that the twill tape is facing outside. So they shouldn't face each other, they should face outside. And the edge of the fabric should match the twill tape edge. So we'll start to pin that side. So now we have both sides pinned, and the next thing we'll do is sew them in place. So here I have the top bar, here's the bottom bar, and to start sewing in place, you take the thicker Gutermann thread and you're going to thread it through one of these thicker needles. And we're going to start on the right side. So if you look closely at this twill tape, you know, there's lines going this way, and then you see there's kind of a line separating this side from this side, and it's going down the middle. So you want to make sure you only stitch along this line, and that will help you to keep it straight, and that will keep the tension even once you pull it. So we're going to start by threading it through, and as a starting stitch we'll just do one length stitch. This is maybe 1 centimeter, and you're just gonna do that in place 3 times. Three times should make it secure. And then you're just going to do a running stitch all the way down. So we'll come back up maybe like a centimeter away. You can get away with doing maybe 1 inch apart if you don't feel like doing so many stitches. And you'll just make them, you know, maybe 1.5 centimeter apart. It could be anywhere from 1 centimeter to 1 inch. And we'll just go up and then down. So when you get to the end, you're just going to do the 3 stitches in place again to hold it. And that should secure it in place. Now we're going to repeat the same thing with the other side. So now we have everything sewn on both sides. And what you're going to do is you make sure the edges of the fabric are facing out. And now you're going to flip the boards over and then flip this over. So now the edge of the fabric is underneath. Now the next thing we want to do is we're going to put on the sideboards. So you want to leave about maybe a finger distance, so 3-4 inches. This is the room we'll need for the twill tape. Now we're going to take these pegs and we're going to untwist them, and we're going to take the bottom peg and put it through the holes, and make sure it comes up through the 4th hole and up the slit. Now we're going to stretch it out a little so that the fabric is kind of starting to get tight, and we're going to put it over and screw on the bottom. And then we're gonna screw on the other side. All right. Now we're going to repeat the same thing for the other side. So let's also place it over the 4th hole. And then we're gonna put the unwinded pegs through. Now that we've put it together, so to do the twill tape, we're going to unwind it. And to start, you take the edge of the twill tape, the end of it, line it up about maybe 1 inch, 1.5 inch from the fabric. So here it is up close. And now we've gone under for this one, and this one we're gonna go underneath again. So you just alternate every time. See, this one's over, next one's under. And we pull a little so that the ripples get kind of smoothed out. And then we'll go over. And then use your thumb to hold it in place. And then we're going to pin it and pull it over. Then we'll just do it again. We'll go underneath. So here's the finished tambour beading frame with the fabric mounted. It doesn't look perfect, but I mean, for our purposes, it's good enough because we're just going to end up cutting away most of the edges here anyways. So some things to point out. You see there's no ripples anymore, and that's what we want. I mean, it's kind of tight. That's what we want too. All the pins are secure in place. And now we are ready to sew.